This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Tuesday, September 1, and this is the Barbados Today Afternoon Update. A warm welcome to you. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. We begin with news from storm-ravaged Dominica. Fire officers from Barbados are part of a mission today which will be trying to rescue 4 people who are reportedly trapped in the southeastern community of PT Savan. The mission follows yesterday's evacuation of 200 people from the same area, following the devastation left behind by the passage of Tropical Storm Erica. Our Marie-Claire Williams is in Roseau and tells us more. Marie-Claire?
What I can tell you, Fenella, is that the search and rescue operations are continuing today in Petit Savan. The Dominica Fire Service, along with the Barbados Fire Service and the Antigua and Barbuda Fire Service, they are headed back to Petit Savan as we speak. Today they are leaving from the Plainfield Airport, and we are hearing that there were some 4 people who have been trapped in one section of Petit Savan, and they're going to attempt to rescue them today. So this is today's update, and we also understand that St. Lucia's Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny Anthony, is due on the island today to speak with Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt. He has not arrived as yet, but it is expected that he will be there. He will be here at some point during the day.
Our Marie-Claire Williams there reporting from Roseau. Back in Barbados now, the father of deceased 6-year-old Jehan King is not happy with the length of time it's taken for an arrest to be made in his son's death. John King arrived in the country last Thursday, a week after police say his son died from a chest trauma was laid to rest. The devastated father questioned the reason for the delay in an exclusive interview with Barbados Today.
I honestly feel that more can be done. I mean, like, investigation-wise, where's that? If a man rob a bank and feed his family, police don't appear there with guns and incarcerated to case pending and finding out everything, you know, but a little innocent boy has died and no one is really answering to this, you know. There's no one being questioned in that sense or being, you know, like dealt with in such a sense that, you know, it's satisfying to the parent or anything like that, you know. It's hard, right?
He, however, made it clear that he will not be taking matters into his own hands in finding those responsible.
God is going to deal with everything for me, you know. As I've seen and I've lived to see him do certain things, I know, like, God isn't like ugly in that sense, you know. So, you know, whoever is responsible, they will pay. You know, karma and retribution, you know. God is doing the seeking.
Barbados will make another attempt in trying to reach a long-delayed fishing agreement with Trinidad and Tobago. Word of this from Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, Robert Bobby Morris, following the signing of a similar agreement between Bridgetown and St. Vincent and the Grenadines yesterday. Ambassador Morris says he's trying to get talks on the way early this month.
I'm therefore going to be having discussions with the fisher folk, particularly the boat owners, as well as the fishermen themselves. And I have to have some discussions at the level of Tobago. And clearly, a certain date is important in my thinking. Sometime early in this month, some decisions will be made in terms of the internal situation in Trinidad and Tobago. I am not making any anticipation one way or another, but as soon as that is over, Barbados will be starting to mount this position to start negotiations on a bilateral agreement that looks at fishing between our 2 countries.
Consumers will be paying more for over 200 items as of today. That's because the government's new policy, which was announced in the budgetary proposals on June 15 on the value-added tax, takes effect. The Frundle-Stewart administration maintains that the changes to the so-called basket of goods, which has 150 items compared to 400, on the previous list ensures that foods of high nutritional value reflects the needs of average Barbadians, while those that have been taken out has an equivalent substitute. Labour Minister Senator Dr. Esther Bayer says legislation is coming which will likely establish a minimum wage for several categories of workers. She made the comments following the dedication of the new headquarters for the TVET Council recently.
We do not have a minimum wage per se. Most people have been guided by that minimum wage for shop assistants and kind of use that as a national minimum wage, but we don't have a national minimum wage. So what we have now, we have legislation, the minimum wage board legislation will establish a board that will allow for minimum wages to be set, not just a national minimum wage, but minimum wage perhaps by sector, because you can't just set a national minimum wage. A minimum wage in among security guards may not look like a minimum wage among persons caring for the elderly and that kind of thing. So you have different groups of people. So we're looking at it sectorally and by industry, and we'll be looking at national as well. But I think the sectoral approach is going to be more practical. So the minimum wage board will advise, and that legislation is being prepared.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Got it in my hand, yeah. My Barbados, my bank. Got to understand, yeah. My Barbados, my bank. Ain't nothing like a core bank spare. None of them others just can't compare. You just got to love that taste. It's the world-class thing this land makes. Whether I'm cruising or at a bar, whether I'm at home, my bank spare is never far. For this blessing, got to give God thanks. My Barbados, my bank.
We wake up with news from our regional neighbors. Investigations are underway into a blaze that claimed the lives of 17 people at a Venezuela prison. 9 men and 8 women died and 11 others were injured when the fire spread through a unit at the jail near the city of Valencia. Inmates claim that an electrical fault was to blame for the fire, but investigators have yet to provide an official report. Forensic experts are trying to identify the bodies. And on the international scene, Pope Francis announces a major shift on abortion. Catholic priests will now be allowed to forgive women who have had abortions and doctors who carry out the procedure. However, the measure is just a temporary one for the coming Jubilee year, which begins on December 8th and ends on November 20th, 2016. Angry scenes erupted outside Budapest's main train station this morning as crowds of migrants were prevented from boarding the trains. More in this CNN report.
They are so unbelievably fed up with the way they've been treated, with the fact that they've been degraded to this degree, left to languish in the streets of Hungary, having spent days, if not upwards of a week here at the train station in Budapest. Their money is running out. They just want to reach this dream that they have in their heads that is Europe, the Europe that they imagined it to be, not the one that they've seen so far. And that Europe, they do all believe, lies in Germany. Now, many of them saying that they waited for hours to buy these train tickets, some up to 8 to 10 hours. They were sold the tickets, and then all of a sudden, they were all forcibly removed from the train stations, and the trains stopped leaving. So they can't understand why it is that they were sold train tickets if they weren't going to be able to board the train. And all of this is adding to the sense of frustration and aggravation that they are just being played games with.
And that's news. For more, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb. Subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and you can like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good afternoon.